Hey everyone, I'm Nana, and welcome to day 2 of the Mouse Drawing Challenge. So, I was scrolling through Pinterest for what felt like forever, and I finally came across this super beautiful piece that I just had to try drawing. It immediately caught my eye, and I was like, yup, this is the one. I started with the sketch, and oh my god, the face nearly broke me. It took forever, and honestly drained the life out of me. Like I was this close to giving up. I kept redrawing and erasing until I finally got something that looked decent. Not perfect, but decent enough to keep going. And at some point, things finally started to make more sense and look cleaner. That's when I knew I could maybe pull this off. I'm still working on the sketch, but honestly, I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Like, yeah, it's not perfect. Some parts are a little rough, but overall, it's giving me exactly the vibe I wanted. There's this moment in every piece where the sketch just clicks, and I feel like I'm finally there. The shapes are flowing the way I imagined, the pose looks solid, and the whole thing just makes sense now. Even though I'm still making little tweaks here and there, I'm not stressed about it. I'm actually enjoying it. Just zooming in, fixing small things, then zooming out again like, okay, yeah, this is it. It's one of those rare times where the vision in my head is actually starting to match what's on the screen. Then came the outline. Oh, the outline. Every single line felt like it took 1,000 years. And because I'm using a mouse, there's no pen pressure. So I had to go in manually and erase the ends of every single stroke to fix spots where the line looked too thick or too sharp. That part, it took forever. Like, I legit spent 3 full days just doing the sketch and outline alone. Just vibes, pain, and Ctrl plus Z. Honestly, drawing with a mouse is one of the hardest things I've ever done. It takes so much more control and patience than a tablet. But it also helped me slow down and actually focus on what I'm doing. Oh, and one tip that saved me, zooming out often, sometimes a line looks fine up close. Then you zoom out and it's like, never mind. What I actually enjoyed about the outlining process was seeing the character finally take shape in a clean, solid way. The sketch was loose and full of guesses, but the outline felt confident. Like, okay, this is who she is. As I went through each section, I started noticing little moments where the piece felt more alive. The tilt of the head, the way the shapes curved. It all started to feel a bit more intentional. Even though it was slow and a little tedious at times, it made me appreciate the structure of the drawing way more. Each line added weight and clarity, and by the time I finished, I felt like I really understood the flow of the design, not just how it looked, but how it moved. And I think that's one of my favorite things about outlining. It's where the chaos starts turning into something real. Every line you commit to adds structure. And little by little, the piece goes from being just a sketch to something with its own personality. There were moments where I'd sit back and go, wait, this is actually looking kind of cool. Not perfect, not final, but enough to get me excited to move forward. And weirdly, the repetition of it all was kind of calming. Drawing the same curve 5 times might sound annoying, but when it finally lands, it lands. That crisp edge, that clean transition from sketchy to sharp, super satisfying. I also started noticing how much more connected I felt to the drawing. Because I had to go so slowly, I spent way more time with each section than I usually would. And in a way, that made it feel more personal. It wasn't just lines on a screen. It felt like something I was building piece by piece. There's something really rewarding about seeing the shift from rough and undefined to clean and deliberate. It's that turning point in a drawing where you can finally step back and say, okay, this is really happening. While I'm still deep into outlining and the drawings slowly shaping up, there's one thing I wanted to share before moving forward. The voice you're hearing now. If you noticed my voice sounds completely different from the first video, yeah, that's because I was using AI voices back then. But not just one voice, I had to keep switching between different AI programs because the free trials would run out super fast. Like, you get 5 minutes of free voiceover, and then boom, upgrade to premium for $999 a month. So every episode, I'd sound like a totally new person. Some voices were too robotic, some were too dramatic, and some just had me like, who even is this? It got to a point where I couldn't even keep track anymore. I'd finish editing, hit play, and be like, okay, I guess this is my voice now. And honestly, I couldn't just leave the video completely silent. It would have been way too boring with no voice at all. But at the same time, I didn't want to use my real voice for personal reasons. So, AI it is. We're making it work with what we've got. Just so you know, the voice you're hearing right now is still AI generated. I've been switching between different AI voice programs depending on what's available, so you might notice the tone or pacing sounding slightly different in each video. I try to choose a voice that fits the vibe I want for that specific piece, and I usually spend some time adjusting the script and audio to make things flow better and feel more natural. It's definitely been a learning experience, but a fun one. These tools make it possible for me to keep creating and sharing without needing to record anything myself. Even though it takes a little extra work to edit everything just right, it's been worth it. AI voices aren't perfect, but they've come a long way. And I enjoy exploring how to make the most of them. Thank you so much for being patient and supportive while I continue figuring out what works best. I really hope the voice adds something to the experience and helps bring the video and art to life for you. Anyway, when I finally got back to coloring, I honestly enjoyed it more than I thought I would. After such a long break, it felt really refreshing to sit down and just focus on bringing the piece to life with color. I didn't realize how much I missed this part of the process until I started working on it again. Coloring with a mouse has its own challenges, but I've gotten used to it over time, and I've found ways to make it work for me. The style I used here is kind of loose and spontaneous, but still polished in its own way. Like, it's not hyper clean or overly controlled, but it still looks cohesive and expressive, and I really like that balance. I think it helps the drawing keep a bit of its energy and personality, which can sometimes get lost in super refined work. As I kept working, I started to notice little changes in how I approach coloring. Things like how I choose color palettes or how I layer shading in certain areas. It wasn't something I planned, but it just kind of happened naturally. I think taking that long break actually helped in a weird way. It gave me time to grow without overthinking it. And even though the coloring isn't perfect, I feel like it carries a piece of me in every stroke. There's this fun, almost calming rhythm to filling in each part, watching everything slowly come together. It reminded me why I enjoy this challenge, not just to improve or finish something, but to genuinely enjoy the process. Every time I opened the file again, I felt excited to keep going. I hope that feeling shows through in the final piece because it really was a joy to work on. Working on this piece has been such a rewarding experience, and every step keeps me motivated to push a little further. I love how each layer of color adds more life and personality to the drawing. It's amazing to see how the piece gradually comes together, even with all its imperfections and little quirks. This process reminds me why I started this challenge in the first place: to enjoy creating, to learn new things, and to keep improving bit by bit. Sometimes it feels like a slow journey, but every bit of progress, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. I'm really excited about where this piece is headed and can't wait to share more updates with you soon. Thanks so much for sticking around and supporting me through this creative adventure. I'm really happy with how this piece is turning out so far. I enjoyed every step of the process and feel proud of the progress I've made. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Your feedback means a lot to me. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps keep me motivated. That's all for today. See you in the next one.